morning, students. We are doing chapter 2, forms of business organization. We have 5 types of business organization in the private sector: sole proprietor, partnership, joint Hindu family business, cooperative society, and joint stock company. We have already done what do we mean by sole proprietorship. Just for a quick revision, sole means only, a single person who is the owner, and proprietor means the owner. So sole proprietor means where you find a single owner, we call it sole proprietor. We have even discussed the features, that is formation and closure, liability, risk bearer. He is the single person who bears all the outcome of it, whether it is a risk or it is a profit. No separate legal entity means he is not separate from the business. Business means sole proprietor, and sole proprietor means the business itself. Lack of continuity: if a person dies, get insane, or any problem arises, his business will stop there. Then control: he is the single person who controls each and everything. Moving on to the next part is the merits of the sole proprietorship. They are very quick in making the decision. They are very confident of their information, whatever they are passing. They get the direct incentive, either it may be loss or a profit. They feel satisfied when they achieve anything. So sense of accomplishment is there. It's very easy for that person to form it or close it. There are certain demerits of the sole proprietor. They have always limited resources. Single person is never sufficient enough in generating the resources. The life of the business is very limited because alone he is managing everything. If anything happens to him, the business stops. The liability is unlimited, means there is no limit to the liability, even his personal property is being attached. Limited managerial ability. Whatever he wants to manage is limited because he is a single person, single mind, single brain is there. So he may not be possessing all the qualities. He may not be good in purchasing, selling, financing, managing the things. He may be very good organizer but may not be expert in marketing skills. So that becomes the demerit. Moving on to the next part is joint Hindu family business, where the business starts with the family. It's divided into 2 parts, Daya Bhaga and Mitakshara. There are certain features, how it is being formed according to the Hindu Succession Act 1956, and you need that you should have an agreement along with your members by birth. Liability: Karta alone has unlimited liability, whereas co-partners have limited liability. Control: Karta always controls the business, being the head of the family, and he is the eldest one also. Minor person can be the member, not can be, surely he will be by birth. He get that recognition, and it continue till you want, and the next elder will take over the charge of Karta. There are merits and demerits of the same. Next type is partnership. Partnership Act 1932 defines the relation between the persons who have agreed to share the profit of the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. How it is being formed according to the act. Liability, that is unlimited. Risk bearing, everyone has to bear it. Decision making, uncontrolling, all will take the decision. So they are required to give their, we will say, voting or the acceptance for or rejection for any of the decision taken by them. Continuity, it continues till everybody is alive or does not retire. If they retire or anyone dies, if they become insolvent or insane, the Partnership Act comes to an end. So for that, what is required? Again, if they are comfortable enough, they can restart it with a new agreement, but the previous one is stopped there and partnership comes to an end. Number of partner, minimum 2 and maximum 50, and in the other case 100 people are there. It's a mutual agency. All are acting for each other and one is acting for all. That's why it is termed as a mutual agency. There are certain merits: easy of formation and closure, balanced decision making, more funds because of more people, sharing of risk, again many people are there as partners, secrecy as they don't publish their data, so the data become secret. But there are again certain demerits of the partnership. Number one, unlimited liability. They have to bear up to the limitation is not there, unlimited is there, and they have joint liability also. If one of the partner is not able to pay, then the other has to pay for him. Later on he can recover. Lack of continuity in certain cases such as death, retirement or insolvency. Then limited resources. As I was saying, in the case of sole proprietor, single person was there. Here also there is a limit of 50 people, 50 members or 100. So beyond that again there is a limit. Lack of public confidence. They don't trust you because you don't publish your information. There are different types of partners: active partner, sleeping partner, secret partner, nominal partner, stipple partner or partners by holding out. They are being compared on the basis of capital contribution, management, share in profit and losses, and liability. If we talk about them in detail, notes are given to you. These types of partnership are also divided on the basis of duration and liability also. What is partnership deed? A written agreement of terms and condition is termed as partnership deed. Is registration compulsory? No. But if you are not registered, what are the consequences? An unregistered firm cannot file a suit against the firm as well as other partners. Second, the firm cannot file a suit against third parties, and the firm cannot file a case against the partners also. Otherwise, if you are interested for the registration, submit your application, deposit the fee and get the registration certificate. Next one is cooperative society. The society means coming together for a common purpose. So they form an association and get themselves registered. How many people are required? Minimum 10. So there are certain features. Merits, they have voting rights. Each person has equal right of voting. It exists forever because it is a registered organization. Your liability is limited only up to the amount you have contributed. Economy is in operation because you eliminate middlemen. Ease information, only 10 people will go and register themselves under the Act, Cooperative Society Act 1912, and the society will come into the existence. But there are certain demerits of cooperative society, that is limited resources, lack of secrecy, inefficiency in management, and difference of opinion. This topic is again very important. Types of cooperative society: consumer cooperative society, producer cooperative society, marketing cooperative society, farmers cooperative society, and credit cooperative society, as well as housing cooperative society. This topic is very important: joint stock company. As per the Companies Act 2013, a company is an artificial person having a separate legal entity, perpetual succession, and a common seal. The shareholders are the owners of the company, while the board of directors is the chief managing body elected by the shareholders. This definition is given by the Companies Act 2013. But what it explains? First feature is artificial person. How it is artificial? Because it is created by law, not by God. It is created by law and it exists. It is away from its member. It is independent from its members. Means there is a separate legal entity, we call it. Means member or the shareholders are different from what the company is. Separate legal entity. Again, distinct feature it is having, which talks about that whenever the date of incorporation is there, legally you are given the birth to that company. Means company acquires an identity and it is different from its members. It has its own assets as well as liability. You becomes the owner. People will come, people will go, but the company will go on. Formation, it is formed with a legal procedure. There are certain steps. Next point is perpetual succession. It means coming and going of the members will not affect the existence of the formation of the company. Then who controls day-to-day activities are being run by or controlled by the shareholders, and the rest is being controlled by the management. Liability is always limited up to the unpaid amount. Common seal, this is a rubber stamp through which we always prefer to give the acceptance to the document. So common seal is that common rubber seal which is affixed on the document for the agreement of the company, through which it enters into the contract. Then is risk bearing. Shareholders are the risk bearers, but in case of partnership and sole proprietor, they were having more risk, more loss, shared by few people or single person, but here it is being shared among the shareholders of the company, so it becomes quite easy for them. There are certain merits of joint stock company, that is limited liability, perpetual succession, transfer of interest, professional management, scope of expansion. One by one we can explain it in detail, but we can take the help from the features also. Liability is limited up to the unpaid amount. It will not be affected by death or retirement or resignation. That's why it is termed as perpetual existence. Transfer of interest, you can sell your shares anytime to anyone, so that interest is being shifted from one person to the other one. Professional management, you have expert people, specialists for dealing and handling the things. Scope of expansion, you can hire more people, you can invite application for purchasing of the shares. There are certain demerits also. Complexity in formation, it talks about when you are talking about joint stock company, you need a specific procedure to be followed. It becomes complex because there are 4 stages, now it has turned to 3 stages, but these stages require time and specification. Completion of one step asks you to move on to the second one. That increases its complexity. That's why we call it complexity in formation. Lack of secrecy, you have to disclose and you have to tell the details, and it has to be published in the newspaper, so nothing is secretive here. That's why we call it lack of secrecy. Everybody is aware about it. Then is impersonal work environment. Why there is impersonal? Because there are people who have been hired, not the owners, and from top to the bottom these people are maintaining and collecting the information related to the company, so it becomes impersonal. Then is numerous regulations. Many legal many formalities are required for running this organization, to form this organization, and to keep in continuation. So numerous regulations are required. Delay in decision making, reason is again we need to ask the shareholders, we need to understand when they will be available, and generally we talk about board of directors who are following the procedure starting from top level to middle to the lower one, and they are handling the situation. So when the things passes from different levels of management, it takes time, it may take more time, that's why we get it delayed. So delay in decision making. Finally, conflict in the interest, no two people are alike, due to which most of the time stakeholders feel that whatever they feel is right, and that may lead to confusion and conflict in the interest of the people. There are different types of companies. 3 companies are there: private company, public company, and one person company. Private company is that company where minimum 2 people and maximum limit is 200. Beyond this you cannot invite the general public, whereas in public company you have minimum 7 and there is no limit to the maximum 1. Number of directors required in private company is 2, and in public it is 3. Index is to be maintained for the members, is not compulsory in case of private company, but it is compulsory in case of public company. Private limited word is being used in private company, whereas only limited word is being used if it is a public company. Invitation to the general public is not required in case of private company, whereas it is compulsory in the case of public company. Transfer of shares, it is restricted in private company, whereas there is no issue and it is allowed in case of a public company. There are certain characteristics of OPC, and finally we would like to evaluate that how sole proprietor, partnership, joint Hindu family business, cooperative society and company are compared on the basis of formation, membership, capital contribution, liability, control and management and continuation. I hope this video is going to help you a lot in understanding the different forms of business organization. Prepare well and come out with the doubts. Thank you.